That hurt.
All right, final score, Mexico 2, United States 1. I mean, I'm not really that surprised. We got completely outplayed for most of the game.
Yeah.
It was super predictable most of the game, too. Sure, there are a couple funky things that Poach tried. But mostly, we were on our heels all game long, except for the brief moment after Mexico scored their second goal where they're like, well, we're going to tighten up in the back here and let you have a few minutes of possession.
What was there outside of the 2 goals Mexico scored? Was there any other opportunities that we were sitting there going like, "Oh my God, we were very fortunate there"? Because I can sit there and say, Freeman, if he would have just headed the ball a little bit more up in the air, that would have been a goal.
Yeah,
would have finished his chance instead of letting it off to Adjiman.
Yeah,
kind of towed to it, but the goalkeeper came up big. We were definitely outplayed. Mexico definitely controlled most of the match. We had flashes of okay and brilliance, but we didn't capitalize our opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 2021 team that Greg led to the win with the CEB team over the Mexican A team, that team was full of veteran guys that you may or may not have liked them much, but they had played on the U.S. men's national team multiple times, where this is not the case here. We had a lot of guys playing kind of their first time. Arson, Berhalter. I mean, this is a good team, but I actually think the 21 team was better. And we played a lot better against Mexico with Greg, though, I have to say, than we just did here. So if you want to use that as your apples-to-apples comparison, Greg winning it in 21 with a BC team and Poach not with a B team, I think, actually, if I'm Mexico, I'm glad if you're a Mexican fan, you're probably glad you won. Well, I'd be pretty concerned about this performance. Yeah. This was not a very good performance by them either. Only winning 2-1 against a team you outpossessed like crazy.
It's one of those things where, again, making that comparison to Greg's 2021 team and now, I mean, I feel like looking back 4 years ago, we tend to gloss over a lot of things because I recall a lot of those games being nail biters. We're grinding out a result. It's not great play. We kind of got dominated here. I mean, hell, I bring this up as an example for a number of things, but in that tournament, when we played Canada,
but we squeaked by.
Got a 1-0 victory against them. And we scored the 45th second of the game.
We squeaked by everyone in that tournament.
We beat Qatar 1-0, and that was a nail biter. That was a slugfest.
Yeah.
And then we beat Mexico 1-0. I mean that's come on. I mean, we go back and we look at well the only thing I can say that Berhalter did there differently is that he ended up winning it.
He ended up winning it. But really, the question should be: has Poach been an improvement?
No.
On Greg, no, he has not been, and that's too bad. Untouchable says, "Well, the good news is that's the last time you'll see Adjiman." I don't know why people think that's the case.
He'll be there in September. I almost guarantee it.
I guarantee
now,
he will be there. He
might not be a starter by any means, but Flo and Pepe are going to be getting right back into the groove of things. Now, question will be, will they have done enough with their club to warrant Poach starting one of those over Patrick, who's been around for a month and some change for Pochettino?
So Pochettino is a super stubborn dude. And I can almost guarantee you that Adjiman will be there. Berhalter will be there for sure. Absolutely for sure. Someone in Europe is going to be left home for Berhalter. Probably Tanner Tessman, be my guess. Yeah. Right to guess who's getting left off by Poach. Poach being Poach at this point. I think we're still trying to get a full feel for who he is as a manager. But one thing for certain, he's a stubborn son of a bitch. A non-stubborn person doesn't start the same fucking 11 guys 3 games in a row and tire them the fuck out.
Exactly. That's poor overall player management.
It is. It's really bad. Like, you couldn't have found a way to give some guys a blow at some point during the last 3 games. You're going to play them. I mean, yes, okay, Downs came in a little earlier, like 67th minute, but that's probably the earliest sub he's made in a while.
Let's do it real quick. Let's cover the super chats here real quick. And I want to do an exercise with you, just going over the roster and everything. Okay. So Edgar Castillo for $1.99 says Aguiman is the worst professional player. Enough.
Well, is he the worst professional? He's not a. Listen, I guess he plays for Clit, right? He's about to head off to Derby, and we'll see how that works for him. And I guess we'll find out what kind of professional player he really is. But it's a lot of time on the ground. It's a lot of time on the ground. For a body that big, shouldn't be on the ground that much. I'm sorry.
No,
just shouldn't.
He's gonna be there September. We gotta use the what's the Game Central for $2 says Bambi shit. Something trash maybe. I'm not sure which one didn't show up there.
One's a goat.
Bambi, fire. It's not goat. It's Bambi. It's a deer.
Oh, is it? Okay. Then Bambi again, and then something else. And my God, he's so bad.
It's probably all the touches he had. He had one fire in there.
It wasn't great. It was not good. But again, when we say don't be surprised if Poach still brings him in September, we're just preparing you for that mentally, emotionally, because it looks like even more than Greg, he has favorites. And I am not going to be shocked if Berhalter and Adjuan make that team, that Arson makes that team. And Freeman.
That's the experiment we're going to do, the little test. We're going to go over this lineup and look at the subs too and say who's going to be there in September. We're going to make a stamp declaration of who's going to be there in September.
Okay.
Barring injury, of course.
Are we sure Pepe's going to be healthy and ready to come back I
don't know.
September?
Let's not worry about who's going to be there from the European squad. I'm talking about this Gold Cup roster.
Oh, well, Ream and Richards will be there.
So I think starting at Freeze will be there.
Freeze will be there.
Ream and Richards will be there.
Yep. Freeman will probably be there. Arson will probably be there. Adams will be there. Luca De La Torre, he seemed to really like him, regardless. I don't know. There's actually a shot for Luca De La Torre as well.
When it's a possibility, I guess it just depends on who else is really going to be competing for the mid roles when our European players come back and stuff like that. So
I wouldn't be surprised if he's there in September.
It could be. I'm thinking so as guarantees right now. I'm
guarantees.
Freeze, Richards, Freeze, Dream, and Adams guarantees.
Arson, I guarantee.
I think Arson's a guarantee too. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
I don't want it to be, but it is. Luna guaranteed. Tillman guaranteed.
Yep.
Berhalter guaranteed.
I think so. Yes.
I hate to say it. Bambi guaranteed.
So we're looking at maybe 2 players on the starting lineup right here that and we can make arguments. Freeman could be included. Who's competing outright? That's got shipped off home because he wasn't 100% ready for the entire camp.
Scally wasn't called up.
Scally wasn't called in
at all.
And we made an argument for Luka. This 11 could be part of the 26th in September.
Yes, it could.
All of them.
Listen. Poach fell in love with these guys, you know?
And then this is Camp Cupcake all over again. You had Camp Cupcake, which would be like 3, sometimes maybe 4 weeks of training and a couple games. And all of a sudden we have a World Cup qualifying match, and all of a sudden you see 4 or 5 guys from Camp Cupcake get included out of nowhere.
Yeah, but at least with Berhalter, it was only 4 or 5.
Yeah,
not all of them. Not the whole starting 11 practically.
Going off the subs real quick, I don't think Colton will be included. McGlynn could be.
Ream gives up a goal a game, says Larry. Okay, if you're going to say that was Ream giving up that goal, I'm going to say you're wrong. I'm going to say Adams stepped up, took the wrong guy. Richard stepped out of the hole and left us that through ball for. Ream was coming over to rescue the situation. Remember, he plays left center back, not right center back. He was covering behind Richard's butthole.
Yeah.
And he had a good angle, but that's just a great shot by Raul. What are you going to do about it? All right.
Out of the subs, we don't have to go through all of them, I guess. Just look over the list.
None are guaranteed. I don't.
None are guaranteed. I agree.
Yeah.
So, this we're looking at, like I said, we're looking at maybe 9, potentially 11 of this Gold Cup roster being included in September.
Yeah.
And you go from a roster in Nations League, which maybe had just a couple of MLS players?
2, a goalkeeper and a center back, Miles Robinson and
Tim Ream was there.
Schulte. I always forget that Ream plays in the MLS now. Yeah.
So you go from a roster of 2 or 3 MLS players to all of a sudden you're looking at like half of a roster that potentially could be in September because of the Gold Cup performance here.
Yeah.
Take that for what it is. I mean, I'm not saying that just because you're in Europe, you're automatically better than some of these players, but that's a quick turnover this late in the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems a little nuts to me.
Right. Well, we could put together want to try to put together a 23?
We can do that here in just a second. Yeah, let's cover some of these super chats, then we'll do that, okay?
Thanks, Aaron Alexander, for $4.99. I was at the game. Number 24 is not a soccer player. No feel for the game. We can't do much with players like him. Aaron, props to you for spending your well-earned money on going to a game live that was 95.5, attended by Mexican-American people supporting Mexico. So I give you props, dude. And there was the replay with Downs. I can't believe he didn't just kick that and stepped out of the way. I can't even believe it because we've watched that Golazo by him from Cologne, and it was the exact same sort of bouncy ball. And he was at his back kind of to goal. He spun and kicked it with side kick. Anyhow, water under the bridge. Ream pulled up. He 100% had Raul. Yeah, I think he did too. But you got to keep in mind that Larry hates blonde white people.
Vikings.
A lot. Vikings. He hates Vikings a lot. Even though he might be a Viking. But and so there it is. Edgar Castillo for $4.99. Derek, Ream is not supposed to be there, but that is not how you block a shot in that situation. He's not supposed to be there. Yes, so we agree there. I thought he actually cut the ankle off pretty well.
I think he covered. That's why I kept making the joke that it looked like Rowe's leg glitched through Ream. I don't even know how he managed to get that shot off.
Yeah, it was just a great play by Raul, honestly.
Spinning shot is unfortunate.
That's just a great spinning shot. Quick, too. He did it quickly. That's why he plays in the Premier League. He's a great player. And, Ream knows him pretty well. They were on the same team for a couple seasons together, or a season. Do you think Poach
for $5 says? Do you think Poach parks the bus one up with the A squad?
No.
Yeah, I don't think he changes tactics overall with the A squad.
I would hope not, but we definitely all of a sudden looked extremely passive after 1-0. Extremely passive. There's Cindy Parlow-Cone holding over the trophy to Tim Ream. Here you go, buddy. Here's your second place trophy. Says Cindy Parlow-Cone. Jizz. She said jizz. All right, inside joke for those of you who've been watching us for a long time. All right, for the 800 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with Grandma. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you could. It helps us out because we mostly do live shows here. We do not do a whole lot of and maybe we should, but we don't, videos. So, the algorithm is basically fucking us up the ass every minute of every week on YouTube. So we're going to try to make a 23 after this, trying to dig deep into Poach's mind, right? After this, it seems that Poach has fallen in love with a few players. A few. He's fallen in love with a lot of players. Because if he hadn't, it would have been the same 11 guys every game.
And I also want to indicate, me putting names out here already does not necessarily mean I think this is who Poach starts in September. But we're coming up with a 23 or 26 or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's just go with this right now. For goalkeeper, I have Freeze currently. And then we'll do subs here in a second. I got Jedi, Ream, Richards, and Dest.
I think you go double pivot with Adams and Weston.
That's fine.
Then you put Tillman in the middle. I think he's earned the starting 10 spot. Pulisic Weah. Yeah, I mean, all right. Let's just say that's the starting 11 you could expect in September. Although you can flip a coin on Pepe and Balogun, really.
Fair.
Either on who's healthy or not, honestly. But and then we gotta pick 12 more.
Hang on, 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and get a Flo added as a sub.
Yep.
Okay. So number 1, a goalkeeper.
So Turner back up along with, because we got to bring 3, don't we? For a World Cup, you have to bring 3 keepers. Or even, I don't know about September, that's friendlies, but let's just pretend this World Cup too. Turner, Stefan. I think
he's going to try to bring in Stefan because he cannot manage to get him to play.
Yeah.
Backup, we're going with Arvson.
This is the backup for Jedi?
Yeah.
Yep.
Backup center backs?
I think it's still McKenzie will still be called up. We barely got to see anybody else.
Yeah.
But when we did, it was Zimmerman.
It's a toss up at that point because I mean you got to think he still he's still the opportunity to bring CCV and Austin Trusty in, but didn't bring him in. So,
and we don't know if that's because CCV's big toe was still hurting when Trusty just got married and had a baby.
Yeah,
who the fuck knows? We'll never know.
It's like, but as it stands right now, it's got to be what, Miles or Zimmerman, right?
Yeah, and I think when the shit hit the fan, we saw Zimmerman, but we didn't see anybody else. So
Miles got played early, but then he hadn't seen the pitch since.
Yep.
Okay. Back up to right back. Back up to Dest.
I mean, usually I'd say Scally. How much did he fall in love with Freeman here? Seemed like he did.
I don't know. With the inclusion of Freeman, today was a good defensive day for Freeman. I'm not going to take anything away from them there, but I mean, if we're talking about a player who's going to be asked to sit back more, and maybe he wants a player who can sit back, but then at times when we need him to move forward, he can move forward because Scally can't move forward.
Yeah, I still think you go with Scally. Maybe I don't know. He seemed to like Scally for a while. I don't know. So, and then he wasn't called at all in this camp. So now I'm not sure anymore. So I'm still going to go with Scally. Yep, Luna for sure. Who we're replacing next?
Weston. It's Seb. Don't you think?
Yep, I do. I think Seb's in.
Back up to Adams. See, this is where we're torn because I don't know what's actually up with Cardoso. Is he really injured? Is sick? Is Poach just not interested and they kind of give him an out? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Does he call Cardoso in? Does he call him Luca De La Torre? Tessman?
Definitely not Tessman, based on this window. He pooped on Tessman. Didn't bring him at all.
Thomas Powell and Wixia says Luca. Then Thomas Powell says Cardoso.
Does he give Cardoso another chance in September?
Brian says that Cardoso had an ankle injury. It's what was being reported. So you have to.
Yeah. We know that's what was reported. Well, that was the longest lingering little ankle injury ever. And then he was actually filmed working out with the team this week. And yet he still didn't even make the lineup. Saving him from embarrassment of like having to sit the bench. I don't know, Brett. God, I don't. Cardoso, I guess so. Let's go with it. It's the most natural backup.
Yeah. Tillman backup. I mean, I feel like, are we missing somebody in that midfield? Are we missing normal go-to starter?
Well, Musa,
that's right.
So I guess you could have Musa as way as backup because he loves to play him out wide right. I mean, I don't know who else takes that. It's not McGlynn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Aronson?
I guess, yeah. I mean, Luna's played nothing more than the double 10 or, yeah, you wouldn't have Luna in the middle right there.
You could.
That Tillman role is going to be requiring some defense play. Not saying that Luna can't do that by any means.
Yeah.
He 100% showed that he has both the wall defensive abilities and capabilities.
I think he has said so many nice things about Musa. It's kind of be surprising if he doesn't make the team at all. Mm-hmm. But Tillman, the replacement for Tillman, it's not Reyna. It's Aronson.
SBBA.
Brendan Aronson. We may never see Reyna again. Honestly, I really do think that could happen.
All right, so that's 23 right there.
Okay. Well, we didn't get Ajimon on there, did we?
Well, only if we do 23. I don't know if he does a 26 for friendlies.
Probably.
Because if you have 26, then yeah, you can throw in Ajimon.
Well, he's making the team, so you might as well put him on there. Because that's Flo and Ajimon or whatever. Flo, you can start Flo and have Pepe as a backup, but I just think he's in love with that guy. I think he's in love with him.
Yeah. Now, how are we looking at? If let's say we go 26, because that's 20. That puts us at 24 right there.
All right, two more.
Yeah.
Where
are we hurting?
Who else we didn't put on here?
You think it's possible to see the likes of, say, Freeman, even though we have Scally? So there are two different types of backs.
We already have 4 backs. That's a lot.
I agree.
So maybe another center back.
Scally's eventually a more or less a center back when playing.
Yeah, but he'll still bring another center back, I think.
Think so?
Don't you? I guess we have 5 already, but that's probably enough.
That's including Scally, yeah. Are we missing anyone else, dude?
Let me look here.
Big Four, Jai.
Well, just throw Luca De La Torre on there since we bring a lot of midfielders. We bring a shit ton of midfielders. I think he really likes Luca De La Torre. He played him every single fucking game. Started him every single game, except for one, I believe.
Come on, chat. Are we missing anyone? Who's be contending here? Kristen says, will Sargent get another chance? Derek doesn't think so.
I don't think so. I think that he's moved on. I think that he was not impressed by what he saw in the window Sargent played in. Because remember, Sargent played the first game, never saw another minute. Not even a minute. He was done with him.
There we go. That's an idea. What about Haji?
Yeah, good call. Yeah, Haji's got to be on there. So one less Luca De La Torre and one more wide player, I suppose.
And I guess that would put Luna in contention with Tillman. NBA being the odd man out there.
Gives you a lot of moving parts.
Or, I mean, Pulisic moves into the middle and Luna's out left.
Yeah. Cole Campbell, no. Untouchables.
We need to actually start playing some. Same thing with Gio. We need Gio to be playing.
Yeah. And just if you look at the body language at the post-match questions and at other things when Poach talks about Gio Reyna, boy, he has only said negative shit about him so far. Negative. He's not the kind of player that fits in the way we want to play, and I quote, as close as I can, and I quote him. Yeah. So, yeah, this will be the last time we're going to see Reyna because we're not going to even bother to try to call him up for the Gold Cup, even though he's going to play 12 minutes in the whole Club World Cup. And by the way, McKenny didn't start the last game either, didn't play in it, I don't believe either. Weah didn't play at all. Why did he go to the fucking Club World Cup? They could have let him know you're not playing.
So jumping back to Gio and the Dortmund situation, I mean, FIFA ultimately just said that Club World Cup gets precedence, and clubs can decide not to send their players even to regional tournaments. Because again, we had all of our rights to bring in whoever we wanted to, but FIFA said, "Hey, if the clubs say no, then no." So does Dortmund looking at this going, we want to transfer Gio. We're not going to play much in the Club World Cup. He could play a lot in the Gold Cup. However, he could also get injured, and that would squash any potential transfer. Do you think Dortmund is sad on him and didn't want to release him because they didn't want to take a chance of him getting injured?
It's very possible, but it's also extremely possible that Poach never even asked.
Oh, I'm not even going that route. I'm just trying to think.
So if no one asks,
if because a lot of people are like, if he was only going to play 12 minutes, why did Dortmund even want him there? You know, I'm like, well, maybe that's the reason why. Maybe Poach didn't ask. These are all alternatives.
Yeah, I'd say it's both. Maybe they wouldn't have, but also we didn't ask.
Yeah.
Look how early in the game Poach was already saying, well, we're going to call Reyna in because this is the only chance I'm going to get to look at him before the World Cup or before September or something, whatever the word. But I would be shocked if Sargent and Reyna are included in anything going forward.
Yeah, well, I don't think Reyna's going to be included until he can start getting some games under his belt at this point. That's going to be Poach's biggest stance, because it bodes in Gio's favor the fact that he said, "Well, I'm not going to be able to evaluate him during the Gold Cup because of the Club World Cup." And that was back in March. He said this.
Yeah.
Now he may not have impressed him, and he may not have wanted to call him up anyways at that point. But it already looked like he was not going to call in his Club World Cup boys at all.
Which is kind of ridiculous because a lot of other national teams did.
Yeah.
And some of them even, when their team in the Club World Cup was lost and was out of the tournament, they immediately went to their World Cup team, their national teams. We just didn't do that at all. So that's Poach's decision, I suppose. But to make that decision so early without, Greg would have been on the phone with Juventus going, hey, are you going to use Weah? Because if you're not going to use him, we sure would like to have him at the Gold Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yeah, Christian, absolutely fine. You play 2 friendlies and leave. We're cool with that. Come on in. Hey, Dortmund, doesn't look like you really value Reyna. Can we have him for the Gold Cup, please? No, sorry, you cannot have him for the Gold Cup because we're afraid he'll get injured or whatever. Okay, fine. They tell you that, but it does sound like Poach made no effort at all on any of those fronts to allow those alternative realities to occur.
Yeah.
So,
FM and Angry American for $5 says when the U.S. parked the bus after the first goal, it was over, and they welcomed Mexico to attack nonstop. # disappointed.
They sure did. They became very passive.
And then obviously at that point it was open once they got their equalizer. And then when they scored their goal in that 72nd minute, at that point it was always going to be walking off the pitch. It's going to be my legs cramping up, or I'll roll around for 10 minutes when you get fouled. And the CONCACAF shithousery was going to come into effect there.
The CONCACAFery.
CONCACAFery shithousery.
So, I don't even think that Reyna could go to a new club and play his way back onto this team. Something about what Poach saw in practice made him say he doesn't do what we need for him to be involved with the way we play. And that's the best I can translate what I heard in scrambled English. That's a harsh thing to say about a player. But basically what he's saying is I need a guy who's willing to run his ass off and go balls out 24/7. And I guess looking at Reyna, he doesn't think and he doesn't value the other things that Reyna can bring. Question is, after all those injuries, is Reyna the same player? I don't know, because he's barely got to play. I watched every Dortmund game he played this season. Not impressed. Does not seek out the ball. Does fall into open space and but does not demand the ball either. I don't know. Maybe he's lost. I don't want to say he's lost his ego and his confidence, because he doesn't seem like the kind of player that would ever lose those things. But something's off. Something's wrong. So there's that. All right. RD Rap for 13 for $4.99. Thank you, brother. The lack of quality killed us, period. Poor game management didn't help either, but ultimately came down to quality. Yeah, it's a bit of both.
Well, and yeah, we're talking about this. When you play Luna and Tillman in your starting 11, which you should, but who are the backups? Who are the creative backups? We went over the roster when they started making subs. And he brought in Downs, and he brought in Brendan Aronson as our offensive subs, and they brought in McGlynn. Okay, outside of those people, who's on the bench? I can help out after that.
Well, obviously, Poach thought not many. There aren't many guys on the bench that could help out.
I mean, Pat Paxton wasn't on the bench. Cardoso wasn't on the bench. Haji Wright wasn't on the bench.
Well, Haji's out.
Yeah. He was out with an injury. I mean, he got left out completely. He left camp because of an injury.
Yeah.
But Cardoso had an injury. I don't know where Paxton's at. But I mean, this is the team that he brought. You brought a very defensive-minded team. I mean, we're heavily reliant on Luca De La Torre and Sebastian Berhalter to be some of our offensive press. Because Luna and Tillman should have been up higher. They were supposed to get the ball and then move the ball forward up the pitch. We just didn't have it. Yeah. I'm not saying that Sebastian played bad this cup. I'm not saying he played great. I'm not saying Luca De La Torre played bad or great. I'm just saying every time I looked at that midfield, I went, okay.
Well, I know even my mom texted, and listen, my mom watches all the games, but she said Luna having a rougher night against Mexico tonight.
Yeah, somebody in the chat mentioned how in the biggest game we needed him for, he ghosted a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, this is just a bigger challenge. And by the way, what does Luna thrive on? Possession. What did we not have? Possession. Yeah. So.
It's truth.
Yeah. McKennie played 5 long minutes versus Madrid. I actually stopped watching the game by the end. I was like, fuck this. I came here to watch McKennie. No McKennie. And then the next report came out like 10 minutes after the game and said, Juventus wants to get rid of him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, not again. Edgar Castillo for $4.99. Overall, can't be too harsh on these players. Simply came down to A team Mexico versus B team U.S. men's national team. Facts that Mexico struggled is bad. Yeah, we were saying that too. This was a poor performance by Mexico. This is a game, honestly, they should have won by 3-1, 4-1 maybe, and they only won 2-1. It was actually close. The score's close.
Well, and you know, here's a match where we were outpossessed, just outplayed, and lost 2-1 against Mexico. Do you see Derek and I fuming, smoke coming out our ears, just upset about it?
No,
because we understand the context behind it, quite frankly. It sucks that we lost. Yeah. There were opportunities where we could have won. We could have put it away. I don't think Mexico had all that many good opportunities outside of the couple chances they scored.
Yeah, they had a lot of the ball, but didn't create much. So
we were more pissed off about the loss to Panama in the Nations League semifinal than we were about this result here.
Yes.
Because we looked at that squad, the A squad, going, what the fuck is happening? These are all of our big guys that are playing like they've never played together. And then we have a B/C squad more so than anything. And they put up a fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough, and they just didn't capitalize on their opportunities. The game could have been different.
And we did learn some things about players. We learned Tillman can absolutely go ball out for 90 minutes.
And you mentioned with Gio, Post looking at, hey, I need a player that's going to run. 24/7.
Yeah.
And Tillman prior to this window looked eerily similar to say like how Reyna plays at the match. Not saying that he doesn't run around the pitch and get in open spots, but it's a little slower, more methodical here and there.
They're both play like languid in a languid manner. Yes.
But in this window was, and we're sitting there like, oh, he's finally come out of his shell. He's finally this. He's not playing his normal style. He's playing more aggressively and he's playing faster and harder. And we saw what happened, the toll that took between the constant knocks and injuries hits he was taking, plus just playing 90 minutes for 5 games.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
And then friendlies prior to that too.
Yeah.
So he was gassed by the end of it.
He's going to be hurting tomorrow morning because he was tackled ruthlessly all night. I think this is the first game where I actually see Poach make adjustments. Whether it worked or not is a different conversation. Laughing out loud, maybe a good sign of things to come. One can only hope. Yeah, I mean, there were a few things that he did try after Mexico scored.
On the fly tactical changes. We went up, we reverted to a shell. They equalized, we kind of went back to our normal game plan. They scored, we went more aggressive.
So
that's different.
They scored, our game plan kind of funkily changed. Like if we had one of those boards where I could move the pieces around on that would be really cool, but I don't know if we can do that. But at one point, Berhalter moved to right back. Freeman went way up the field to play like winger. And on the other side, Arson went way up the field, and Adams covered left back for him. And that was, for a little while. And then, then they went up 2-1, and then we just went fucking stir crazy. We just went all out and had a 4-4-2 with 2 strikers. Tillman and Aguiman, and then later Downs and Aguiman. So
I think as the tournament progressed, our lack of offensive options because of injuries and what have yous.
Decisions.
Well, I mean, like you said, Haji Wright injury, Cardoso has an injury, I guess.
Would have been nice to have Haji, yeah.
I don't even know where Paxton ran off to, but he wasn't there. So by the end of the tournament, our offensive options were gassed outside of, say, throwing in McGlynn in there, throwing in Downs as an option. Those are the only 2 options, which is why we didn't see, I guess maybe we were looking at this, we didn't see a lot of subs because we didn't have a lot of subs to make.
So Poach generally decided there's a group of guys I really like, and there's only 11 of them. And then there's just a few other guys I can trust, and that's all. And I'd like to play them because I don't trust them a whole lot. As little as possible. Like, I'll play Aronson because the guy's gassed, but I'm going to wait till the 80th minute almost to do it. I'll play McGlynn, but not until the 80th minute, 85th minute. I might That's about it, though, right? There weren't a whole lot of other guys that ever saw. Downs was the first one we saw come in that early, right? 60-second or whatever it was, minute. That was super early. But, we were down, too, so we needed a goal. Or was the game still tied when he came on? I can't even remember when Downs came on.
Downs came on. We were down 1.
Okay. So also Tolkien gets token minutes, but he'd probably rather not have played Tolkien at all if he could have made that happen somehow.
I'm kind of surprised Tolkien came in at all, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Other guys, if we go down the list of guys that aren't here, for instance, Fossey could have been here, for instance. I think he's probably way out of the picture at this point. Paxton Aronson, even when healthy or not, I don't know. He got minimal minutes in one game, one friendly, and never saw the pitch again. Tolkien, obviously not favored over Arson at all. I don't think he's ever called up. He's not getting a call up in September. The rumor, Nathaniel Brown, by the way, to AC Milan. That was the other rumor. AC Milan are putting out reachers and feelers to get their hands on Nathaniel Brown. Still not a single mainstream media person allowed to ask about Nathaniel Brown and whether he's at least been called. And by the way, he was like man of the match in the U21 Germany matches against Italy. He's the best player on the pitch by a long shot. So we'll just continue to ignore him. Sargent, we've already talked about at length. I'm not getting into it. Scally, I think maybe, I don't know what happened there. Maybe we'll never know why Scally's not here for the Gold Cup. Maybe if guys are like, even said the words, I just want to play the friendlies, they were like, no, fuck off then. Right?
Yeah.
Could be. And then Wiley, well, he must be on the planet Moon because I don't think he's even thought of Zendejas out on a range somewhere, miles away. Musa will be back. That was on Musa. Pulisic, he'll be back. No worries there. Jedi should be back. He had surgery. I love that all the articles don't ever mention he had surgery. Yeah. They're just like, he was one of the players missing in action. Was he missing in action or was he missing in a hospital? Because that's where he was having surgery. Griffin, I think he's so far off the reservation and so out of the picture for Poach. I think he's done. Jonathan Klinsman, I don't think so. I don't think Poach cares. Tanner Tessman, I just don't think that Poach rates him very highly, or else he would have been here. Gio Reyna, we've already discussed. Aiden Morris, he might as well be on Jupiter. Busio might as well be on Pluto for Poach. Also, all left out. So there are other guys. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people, right? And that's why I think all these guys that just got this opportunity because Poach gave them the opportunity because he saw something. I mean, he couldn't have possibly watched all the footage of all the players I just mentioned and all the MLS guys at the same time. But we knew coming into the tournament who the hot feet were in MLS. And that obviously was Seb Berhalter and White, which is why we saw him then. Agamon's not having that great of a season at Clit, right? I bet you we get hit for saying Clit, even though that's literally the symbols.
Nope, we're fine.
All right. So we got a lot of people who might have been called in, weren't, and thus Poach, instead of having an array of people to pick from, only really had trust in 11, 12 guys. That's it. 11, 12, 13 guys. That's it. I think that might be stretching it. Because if he had trust in 12 and 13 and 14 guys, we would have seen more 12, 13, and 14 out on the pitch, but we didn't. We saw them only when absolutely necessary because someone was gassed as hell. Did we see subs? Cade Cowell. Cade Cowell needs to, yes, he was an option, but he needs to start playing for his club team, at least a little, because he's fallen off the side of the planet for his club team in Chivas. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on there, but he just doesn't play anymore.
No lines, no hassle, no problem.
So that's got to change. Unless something's happened recently I don't know about. But I've been covering him.
Oh, good. Sorry, finish.
I was just going to say I've been covering every game and going to look at. I go and track every game he plays to see how he plays minute-wise up until this month, this full month of soccer. I haven't had time to do that because I'm watching games nonstop. So if he's done something recently, let me know. But I don't think so.
Once a Game Central, $5 says Wiley is in the Lone Legion, serving the Legion of the Damned, like Slonina. Well, yes. Slonina might be the third option at Chelsea at this point.
Nothing like being the third option. And even when one guy gets injured, you're still the backup.
Yeah.
Never want to be the third goalkeeper. That's the worst job in the world.
So, Derek, you mentioned that you're going to be on with Pete tomorrow, breaking down the tournament. Yeah, StreamYard will let me. Yeah, should be able to.
Oh yeah, well, I cleared my cache. It still didn't work. So
your cache?
My cache. I cleared it. Still didn't work. So
well, get off the edge.
Well, I can't
take several steps away from the edge, Derek.
I can't because I put in all my information into StreamYard on the other place, and I'd have no idea what the password is. I'm going to have to go look it up.
Shouldn't really have to at this point. It should recognize your device now.
You think? Well, we'll find out right after this show.
I mean, the only way you can do is get it back on. Try it again. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Catch Derek tomorrow on Pete Show.
Yeah. Well, I don't know when they're going to put that out, but it's the CONCACAF group with Adam, myself, Pete, Tact, and I think that's it. I think that's the group. There might be one other person. I don't know. Is Nathan Brown on the fence as far as national allegiance? There was no indication that Nathaniel Brown is on any fence at all. In fact, he's shown only positive feedback. Positive reactions to people who have reached out to him about the fact that he is an American. He liked that Christmas poster that the Bundesliga made of all the Americans playing in the Bundesliga. He liked that and clicked that. He's in the picture. At one point, he stopped following all of the German national team stuff. I don't know if he re-followed when he got no phone call from Poach. But, yeah, it is what it is. We have no complete understanding or knowledge of where he stands there. So, anyhow, I think we're done for the night, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It was a lot of fun. It was 3 hours of fun. We did lose, but we will be back soon. We won't be back on Monday. We'll be back on Thursday. And you can catch me tomorrow on Pete Show. Thanks to all 800 of you who were here tonight. And for those of you who were looking for a win, well, we didn't get it. But we'll look towards September and we'll move on from that. All right. Have a great night.
That hurt.
Blowjobs are a no for me.
It is a skill. It is a practice skill. It is a necessary skill.
The secret to a great blowjob is saliva, saliva, saliva.
It's important for us to learn from this because I think we lose because we beat ourselves.
You need to swallow it too.
understand the problem here.
The people don't understand esophagus is the main player of the game.
Try to stay away from it as much as I can.
You can start by licking the tip.
I didn't understand it, but
Patrick Agyemang to Bambi or
How women in the 1940s lost weight.
The first ultra-processed food was Kellogg's cornflakes. They